I was on my way back to the hostel when I saw something jammed in the front door. Was that really the end of a volleyball net? Oh, it's Peggy. Why would someone be trying to drag a volleyball net inside? A bloody worthless piece of... Tilt already! Oh. I decided to walk around the block a bit more before going back to my room. As I went about my tasks, I noticed Brendan, closeted, Brendan coming out of the closet, in the office with Oscar, the owner. He seemed to spend a lot of time in there. I wondered why, but then I wondered why Brendan had a job here at all, considering how bad he was at it. Sometime later, I was passing through the supply closet when I heard a crash in the kitchen and went running. Brendan stood over a broken plate, looking absolutely furious. Flynn, how could you do that? I'm going to tell Oscar about this. What? But I didn't. Whatever, I'll fix this up. You, just go do something else. Fuming, I turned on my heel and left the room. Oh, February is almost my birthday. In early February, Danny's soccer team had their first match. He formally invited the entire hostel to come see it if they wanted, but let everyone know he wouldn't hold it against them if they didn't show up. Not surprisingly, not everyone wanted to go. I'm definitely going to go. In the end, Ashley, Peggy, and I walked to the park together. Tiny flags in her hands, Ashley was such a nice girl that she couldn't possibly turn down the invitation, but Peggy seemed particularly excited about cheering for Danny. I knew Peggy and Danny were good friends, but seeing the way they interacted, uh-oh. I wonder if there was more than that. I was a little jealous of her. Yeah, I'm gonna say I was a little jealous of her. I couldn't help but want to be the one whose cheers pumped him up the most. After all, Danny was almost the father of the hostel. He was always looking after everybody. In fact, from everything I knew about him, he seemed almost unrealistically perfect. He was smart, kind, thoughtful, attractive, and super fit on top of that. Not that I'd seen much of his body. I mean, it wasn't like I walked around the hostel hoping for a glimpse. Nope. That would be weird. He rarely procrastinated, had good organizational skills. He was managing a team while keeping up his schoolwork. He was just generally impressive. So it was natural for me to want to cheer for such a helpful, attractive, and kind man. Wasn't it? Woo! Go Danny! Danny, now dashing out onto the field for the first time, looked into the stands and saw us. He beamed when waved, and Peggy waved frantically back. Notice me! Notice me! I held up a hand and smiled. And then, he was in, focused on the game. Aw, he didn't notice me. I took some pictures in my phone, thinking they might be useful at some point in the future. Definitely not to stare at them later in the privacy of my bedroom. Yes, pictures of Danny in mid-sport. His team won the game, as was expected. Danny the flawless. So flawless it was almost suspicious. I suppose it isn't fair to be suspicious of him just because he's a great person. There have to be some people like him in the world. Pardon? Did you say something? Nope. We crossed to the end of the field to congratulate Danny on his win, waiting for him to finish his team's victory speech before approaching. Danny, you did it! Good job! Peggy jumped into his arms as soon as he turned around. Oh, Peggy! Peggy! I am very green with envy right now. Thanks, Peggy! Congratulations! Thank you all for coming, it means a lot to me. Of course, it's the least we could do. So are we going out this for a celebratory drink or something? No, that's alright. I've got some work to do back at the hostel. Been neglecting my studies a bit. Really? That's not like you at all. Come on, a little drink wouldn't hurt. No, I'm fine. He said it firmly, and although he wasn't being rude, his humorless attitude killed the celebratory atmosphere. Well, okay. That's fine, then. I bet we've all got work to do anyways. Are we walking back together? He shook his head. I have a few other things to do in the pitch. Sorry. It's fine. Well, offer to help him. Flynn, offer to help Danny with it. Help him with the pitch. Alright? Well, good game. Well, good game, I guess. We'll head home then. It was very nice seeing you. Danny nodded, and Peggy, Ashley, and I headed for the hostel. We got to the edge of the park when I patted my pockets. Something was missing. Oh no, my phone! Don't tell me you left it back there. Want us to come with you to get it? No, it's fine. It'll only be a moment. Smooth, Flynn. Smooth. The whole... Oh no, my phone. I left my phone back over there. Oh no, I'll go get it. I'll go get it. It's fine. You ladies just keep moving, you know. I'll catch up eventually. Smooth, Flynn. I dashed back to the field and searched the bleachers where we had been sitting, but found nothing. My panic was rising when I saw Danny waving at me from down in the field, something glinting his hand. My phone! Danny, my hero. I ran over to him and he cheerfully dangled it from his hand. Now give him a hug and kiss him on the cheek. Oh, did you look at that? Look at that wink! You should really get a better lock on your phone. Got some good shots of me, though. Oh! I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure you don't. Awkward. What should I do? What should I say to make this better? Anyways, congratulations on winning the game. I know I didn't say it earlier. You definitely deserved it. You're a great team captain. You're great at everything. I really admire you. His face darkened, and he shook his head. Don't say that. Why not? He held up a hand and shook his head. I don't want to talk about it. But please don't act like I'm a great person. I'm not. I don't deserve it. So don't say it. Alright. Right. Now aren't the other two waiting on you? Oh, yeah, I guess I'll talk to you later then? Cheers. So much mystery about this Danny guy. What is it that he's hiding? I hope that I can establish some sort of rapport that he can confide in me, because I really want him to open up. I left the field, too wrapped up in what just happened to hurry much. It's about time. Had trouble finding it. Yeah, but Danny found it for me. Oh, how sweet of him. Anyways, let's get back. Ashley said she's going to make some flapjacks to celebrate. I nodded, not sure whether I could tell her that Danny might not appreciate the celebration. Most people were humble just for show, but something about the way Danny said what he did made me think he sincerely, earnestly believed that there was something wrong with him. But what made him feel that way about himself? What was wrong? I don't know, but I am going to find out. I had just changed out of my work uniform and sat down at my desk to write a letter to my mother when my door slammed open and Peggy entered, walking like a zombie. Peggy, is something wrong? She looked at me, tears filling her eyes. Oh, Flynn, this world is full of artless a-holes who only think about themselves. Uh-oh, you figured it out? She shot me a glare, and I chuckled. Okay, but what really happened? She cast her eyes down at the floor and started drawing circles with her foot. My petition. I'm guessing you didn't manage to reach 5,000 signatures. She gave a heavy sniff, confirming my thoughts. Maybe next time? It'll be alright. This is just a minor setback in the grand scheme of things. I know you. You'll pull through in no time and find another small way to help save the Earth. We don't have recycling here at the hostel, after all. You could badger James about that. She sniffled, looking oddly fragile for a girl, who, on a regular day, could knock down walls. Do you want to sit down or something? She nodded meekly, then Zombie walked over to my bed. She fell into it like a lump of clay. Oh, no, I can't give up now. I'm just so frustrated. Nobody cares, but they should. If they cared a little bit more, the world could be so much better. But they don't want to feel bad, so they don't. There's a literal holocaust going down in North Korea, and does anyone care? No, they're all just worried about their little gardens while people are suffering. Peggy does have a really nice heart. I like her personality in that sense. And I can't even blame them. It's the sad part. I nodded and Peggy yawned. It's just not fair. And if I could... Peggy? I glanced at her. She was fast asleep, mouth open on my pillow. Now that I was looking at her, she had heavy bags under her eyes, and her hair looked more frazzled than usual. When was the last time she slept? In light of that, I let her have a nap on my bed. At least she didn't snore much. It wasn't until late that night that Peggy opened her eyes again. What? Where am I? You fell asleep in my room. Mid-sentence, might I add. Seriously? What time is it? Oh my god, 9 already? I have work to do. I'm way off schedule. Peggy, how much stuff are you doing? Not that much. I mean, I'm a chemistry major and I like to study biology in my spare time. So there's a bit of homework from that. And then my part-time job, the volleyball team, and the green clubs, and my mates have a band on weekends. Wow, Peggy, you are a rock star. You're doing all of that? How? She shrugged. You've got to take better care of yourself. You're going to wear yourself out. Even you, with your boundless energy, will eventually reach your limit. If you say so. I do. Are you eating well? I'm not just living off crisps and lager. I'll take vitamins. Peggy, promise me you'll eat some vegetables before you go to sleep, and drink some water. But Flynn, promise me. Fine, I promise. I know you care about the world, but you have to care about you, too. Make sure you get some sleep, and try not to stress out. If you get stressed, come talk to me again. I'll hug you until you feel better. Peggy's face colored, and she hopped off my bed. Right, well, thanks for the help. I'm gonna go now. Cheers. And she scuttled out of the room. With Peggy, it was always one thing or another. As exhausting as she could be, I honestly envied her. She had so many things she was passionate about, so many things she wanted to do and get better at. She had direction, which I lacked. It was easy to care about her. I wanted to see her succeed, much like a brother probably would. Probably. Anyway, I should get back to work. I crept into the dining area, following my nose. Somebody had cooked something lovely. Oh, I was met by Asi, Brendan, Ashley, and to my utter surprise, Ji-hyo. Ashley looked up and smiled when I came in. Hello, I glanced at the plate loaded with food in the center of the table. Is there room for another? Brendan narrowed his eyes and opened his mouth to respond, but... Of course, there's more the merrier. Brendan glared at me, but he shut his mouth. The decision had been made. Nodding my thanks, I dished up some food for myself and took a seat with the others. I hadn't seen much of Ji-hyo around the hostel, but it didn't seem like I would be able to get to know her very well in this group of people. Asi and Brendan were deep in a discussion about some spat between a celebrity couple, each on total opposite sides of the debate. Ashley kept trying to make peace, but they were not having it. Ji-hyo, meanwhile, quietly ate her food and observed. After a while, I drew out Ash's attention and we began a conversation about different kinds of food we liked in restaurants we'd been to. Ji-hyo didn't join in, but she turned her deep brown eyes on me and I grew hot under the gaze. It was so intense, like having the weight of 1,000 rocks hung on my shoulders. Despite that, I actually got her to laugh a few times, and Ashley and I had fun. As the conversation went on, I suddenly noticed the rest of the room was quiet. Asi and Brendan had stopped arguing and were now staring at me. I don't know why, but their stares felt different from Ji-hyo's. Brendan's especially made me uncomfortable. I did my best to ignore the feeling of being judged and carried on. Eventually, we finished our meal, and I helped Ashley clean up after everyone else left. Thanks for another great meal, Ashley. She blushed and shook her head. No problem. It was an odd evening, but a pleasant one. While I was eating breakfast with Mark, Ji-hyo, and Asi, James came in. You. The yard again? He closed his mouth, then nodded. Bushes need trimming. By tonight, or you're out. He left the room. We traded looks, but there weren't a whole lot of bushes around the hostel, so it shouldn't be too large of a job, but it was still February, still cold, and this still wouldn't be much fun. Especially with Danny not here. We went outside, Mark walked away and returned with 3 pairs of garden shears. He gave one to Ji-hyo and one to Asi, then shrugged at me. There were only 3. With that, he went to the end of the walkway. Asi humped, then went to the other, while Ji-hyo started by the front steps. Well, I just couldn't leave them to it, could I? Who should I help? Let's help Mark. Hey, can I help you with that? Mark glanced over his shoulder at me and then laughed. Of course not. Wait, what? I'll do it. I'm more suited to working in the cold than you. Anyways. Oi, that's a bit rude. Mark shrugged. Sit and talk with me. I'd like that. I think it'd be nice. Okay. I started off trying to ask him questions, but his replies were so short, nothing came of it. Instead, I started telling him about the differences between the Grimm and Perrault versions of popular fairy tales. I had to do a report on it in high school once, and it seemed like a good way to entertain him. He smiled as he listened, right up until he finished. Another chance to explore the city. I set out in the opposite direction as last time, heading for King's Cross Station. Ooh, always wanted to go there. Check out platform 9 3/4. Why be in London if you can't see the best sights? Apparently the station was remodeled at some point recently, but there was still a tourist spot with platform 9 3/4 in it. It was amazing that a series of kids' books made such a big cultural impact that they were genuinely memorialized. Oh yeah, you know it, Flynn. A familiar woman stood in the middle of the square before King's Cross Station, serenely painting the exterior of the new building. I ducked behind the food cart, despite the fact that I didn't need to. There were more than enough people wandering around. She shouldn't be able to notice me. I couldn't explain why I was doing this either, but something about her intensely intrigued me. Her face contorted, this way and that, as if she was trying to embody great emotions. But it was just a building in front of her. What exactly was she trying to do? As I watched, her brushstrokes grew shorter and more staccato, and she took more breaks to stand and stare at the canvas, cocking her head to the side. Her shoulders hunched up to her ears, and then she began stabbing the canvas with her brush. Uh-oh, she was getting angry. Maybe I ought to do something? Joke around to lighten the mood. I crept alongside her and watched her stabbing the canvas, probably ruining her brush. Is it dead yet? She jumped. When did you get here? A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. What? I'm just joking with you. What are you working on, a self-portrait? I chuckled, but she did not look pleased. Clearly not. Clearly not. It's clearly not, right? It doesn't look like a self-portrait? How could it look like a self-portrait? Wow, Ji-hyo, she does not like us. I don't look like that. That's so rude. No, I didn't. I was trying to mess with you. Well, you messed with me, alright? You're so insensitive. You don't... She stopped mid-sentence, suddenly deflating. I mean, never mind. I let it, bro. I get it, bro. But bro? Yeah, man, I get it. It was a joke. Super cool. Chill. GQ is really weird. But in a cool way. She sighed. Never mind. I think I'm done for the day. I'm gonna head back. Is she possessed by something? Did you go into the station to see the platform already? Yeah, I did that already. Actually, I have an errand to run. I need to leave. Okay. I got the feeling she didn't want me tagging along. I watched as she packed up her things and tucked the still, wet canvas under her arm. I'll see you back at the hostel? I'm sure you will. In hindsight, making fun of her painting was a terrible idea. Way to go, Flynn. Well, at least I could carry on with my sightseeing. As it turned out, Platform 9 3/4 was nowhere near Platform 9. Yeah, that's right. I found it because of the crowd of people waiting in line to have their pictures taken running into the wall. Nice. Amusingly, the new location is fairly near the station's complaints department for anyone who got too fed up with the whole thing. Nice. As a Harry Potter lover, a Harry Potter fan, I approve. I woke up early on Valentine's Day, feeling quite lonely. Ooh, can I choose somebody to hang out with on Valentine's Day? When I was a little kid, everyone was a fun day. Valentine's was a fun day, where everyone in class would trade tiny paper cards and candy hearts. But when we were older, it got weird to give Valentine's to people who were just your friends. And since I'd never been in a relationship, I'd never gotten a serious Valentine. Aww. It was hard not to feel overwhelmed sometimes by all the romantic advertising and decoration around NYC. Buildings flashed red with hearts and roses. Couples posed by the love statue for photographs. Of course, James couldn't be bothered to decorate the hostel for a holiday, so at least there was none of that here. Still, I felt lonely. Jinsu and Nene sent me their best wishes by email, but explained that postage was too expensive, so they didn't bother to mail me real cards. Probably for the best, considering their going away present. They might think it was funny to send an obscene Valentine. This trip was supposed to be my fresh start at romance. Why was I still alone? I paged through old messages on my phone, feeling more than a little sorry for myself. How about some pictures on your phone? There was a quiet knock at the door, and I slid out of bed to answer it. Happy Valentine's Day, Flynn. Ashley held a small wrapped package out to me. What's this? I got you a present. Happy Valentine's. Ashley, I had no idea. Did this mean she liked me? I didn't get you anything. I feel terrible. No, don't be silly. I don't want anything in return. All I want is your happiness. Everyone should be happy on Valentine's Day. She's so nice. At that point, I realized she had a big bag slung over her shoulder filled with tiny packages. I've got to give presents to everyone else. See you later. So it wasn't because she liked me. It was because she liked everyone. Well, it was still really sweet of her. I shut the door and eagerly unwrapped the present. A small stuffed animal grinned up at me. A bunny with glasses and a red scarf. Aww. He looked like a miniature Harry Potter, and I laughed when I saw him. I set him on the nightstand next to my bed and smiled. Thanks, Ashley. Happy Valentine's to you, too. Aww. I passed by Ashley in the hall. Wait, that was strange. I'm sure that when I first saw her, she was strutting down the hall doing a sashay, as if she were walking down a catwalk. But when I turned to look again, she was walking normally. I guess I just had a weird image in my mind for some reason. I mean, she looked great on a catwalk, even if she's not as tall as models are these days. Get a grip, Flynn. I shook my head and went on my way. I came back to my room to pick up a notebook I'd forgotten, and passed by Danny in the hall. His face was dark, an expression I'd never seen before on it. He looked furious, but not in a blind rage. He had the eyes of a man plotting a very cold revenge. It was so out of place, compared to his normal demeanor, that it was almost as if he were possessed. I thought Jin Yu was one. He saw me after a few seconds and smiled. Hey, Flynn. Perfectly normal, like nothing was ever wrong, except for the shiver running up my spine. I have to go. Oh, Flynn, no! Go talk to him! I hurried to my room and closed the door. Whatever was wrong, it had nothing to do with me, I hoped. Oh, come on, Flynn. I wanted you to talk to Danny. Hey, Flynn. What do you want? My shift's over. I'm about to leave. Someone just vomited up a storm in the men's room. Was that you, Brendan? Yeah, and? Brendan pointed out a mop leaning against the wall. Go ahead. It's your job, isn't it? No, it's not. It is now. He smirked and left for the bar out front. That son of a... I charged after him, intending to give him a piece of my mind. Is everything okay, Flynn? Flynn here was just volunteering to take care of the mess in the bathroom. That's so nice of you. Yeah, it is. I was in the library working on some computer problems when suddenly Peggy ran up to me. Flynn, you ought to help me. Peggy's always asking me for help. I was catching up on my homework and I lost track of time, and I have these chem exercises. I need the reference book for them, and it's an hourly checkout and I'm not done, and I could barely follow what she was saying, and she started talking this quickly. The rules say the same person can't renew a reference because if they did, they could hog it. I don't mean to hog it, but I'm not done. Could you please go check this out on your card? I paused for a moment while my brain caught up with all of that. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. There's usually a waiting list for reference books. If I take it back to the counter, I'll just go to the next person who requested it. Her face fell. But I'm not done. So keep it until you're done and then return it. You only need another hour, right? The fine won't be that big. Or actually, if you know what pages you need, maybe you should just photocopy them. Or use your phone to take a picture of them. Then you can take the book back to the next person. She looked even more distraught, and I tried to figure out my mistake. I guess photocopies are wasting paper, but you can recycle them, right? Use your phone! I don't have any money with me. Oh. I reflexively patted my pockets, but I didn't really have much to spare, considering. Here. Whoa, Ninja Mark, where did he come from? He handed a copy card to Peggy. Get what you need, then bring it back. Aw, he's nice. Without even waiting for a response, he turned and walked back towards the philosophy section. Huh, he's not so bad sometimes. Good on Mark. I was on my break from work, munching on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, when James came running out at me out of nowhere. Flynn! What? Oscar needs tomatoes. Go get him some tomatoes. What? Oscar at the pub? I'm on my break. Well, Ashley hasn't come home from work yet, and I just used the last tomato on my sandwich for lunch. So now Oscar's peed at me, and someone's got to get the replacements. This is an emergency, and if you don't, I'll do it. I'll dock your pay. What? Fine. Jeez, I'm going. He threw a 20-pound note into my lap and dashed back to the restaurant. 20 pounds? How many tomatoes did he want? Better get going. 20 pounds worth. I dashed through the street, heading for a market nearby that I knew sold fresh produce. Hopefully they'd have enough on hand to... Wait. Was that Ashley? She was talking to 3 men, but then maybe talking wasn't the right word. They were crowding around her uncomfortably, blocking her from the sight of anyone else on the street. Uh-oh. I did not like the looks on their faces. Was she in trouble? I had a job to be doing, but so did she. It wasn't like her to be late with work. Ashley was always so conscientious. I kind of want to see if Ashley would be able to take care of this herself. You know, I could be, assume that she needs a man, to save her, to rescue her. But I'd like to believe that Ashley's not some damsel in distress. That she can. I'd like to give her the respect to let her, stand on her own. I guess I'll let her handle this. I was probably overreacting. Ashley didn't look upset. If she wanted to hang out with strange guys, that was her decision. I bought the tomatoes and hurried back to the hostel, though I barely had time to sit down before I had to go back to work at the pub. Ashley still wasn't there when I arrived. Uh-oh. Before I could get too worried, though, she finally appeared. It looked like everything was fine after all. Oh, good. Okay, good. Nothing really happened. Then that's good. Whew. The pub was slow today, which was a good thing, since one of my co-workers was nowhere to be found. Hey, Ashley, where's Brendan? Oh, I'm covering for him. She flicked a nervous glance at the empty end of the bar. How can you cover for him while you're doing your own job at the same time? Oh, well, it's not very busy, and he said he had something really important to do. You would help me out if I had to go somewhere, wouldn't you? It's the nice thing to do. I would if you asked me, but not for Brendan. Well, I guess that's why he didn't ask you then. Can't she see he's taking advantage of her good nature? Oh well, it's really none of my business. I'm surprised at all of these, choices that I don't get to make. Hey, Flynn! Aussie burst into my room in almost the dead of night, and I jumped 10 feet in the air. Whoa! Shirtless Flynn! Nice. What are you doing? Shirtless Flynn is really cute. He's cute. Changing your life, that's what I'm doing. It's time to party, Mr. Responsible. So, are you going like that? Topless? I mean... I blinked. For the first time I realized Aussie was made up to the nines, and bending over in a way that was giving me a good look straight down her cleavage, and I was not entirely dressed. I swallowed and looked away in an effort to be polite. Where are we going? To the clubs, of course. You haven't seen the nightlife yet, have you? You need a proper guide, someone who knows downtown like the back of her dainty little hand. I'm your girl. She was certainly not my girl. We'd barely spoken in the weeks I'd been living here. All of a sudden she wanted to take me out clubbing? I have work tomorrow. So do I. Are you just gonna let England get away from you because you have stuff to do? I'm not really interested, Aussie. I'm sorry. I guess I am. Sorry. I don't know what I ever saw in you. Wow. With that, she stormed the room. Really? Well, I mean, if you're gonna dislike me just because, I don't want to go out, that's kind of petty, I think. Some people just don't want to, aren't the partying type or the clubbing type, and you're gonna have to respect that. So, I'm a little peeved that she wasn't more understanding. With that, she stormed out of the room. At least now I could sleep. I was walking down the hall when I heard a series of loud bangs coming from one of the rooms. That was Danny's room, wasn't it? What was he doing in there? It could have been construction or repair for the hostel, but it didn't quite sound like hammering. More thumps and thuds as if he were beating on something with his fists. Go check on him, Flynn! He's calling for help, and he wants you to go talk to him. He was probably just kicking a football around his room or something. Oh man, come on. Why isn't the game... It's frustrating when the game isn't giving us a choice to actually interact with the people. It's weird, because this game forces you to interact with certain people, and forces you to not interact with other people. It's really weird. But there's this time in sixth form. Oh, here we go. At Peggy's words, everyone in the room became intensely focused on the meal Ashley had prepared for us. Peggy didn't seem to notice the disinterest. Stephanie was on and on about how she had his horse back at the manor. Seriously, she said it like that, the manor, and a saddle with diamonds on it. and we thought she was right, as anybody else probably would. But then her parents actually brought a horse around, and it really did have a diamond saddle.